Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply, and we have a client asking whether or not the Bommer hinge, the double-acting 3029 hinge, will permit a door to go from 0 to 90, but then all the way to 180 degrees. So therefore, the door would actually, the hinge would actually achieve 270 degree of rotation if we went from 90 this way, back to 0 to 90 to make 180, then another 90 for 270. Let's just draw a quick sketch of this concept. And I have no doubt that the hinge will work in that application, but two things come to mind. So the client literally wants the door. I'm going to sketch this out. The client wants the door to be able to go from closed, basically, as we see here, wants to be able to come 90 degrees in this way, go back to close, go back to 90, and then 180 degree. And I would say that that would certainly be possible, absolutely, based on the wall thickness being small enough to get the vertical axis of pivoting out to where that you can get the door out and around. And if you only needed to go to 180 degrees on one side of the wall, I might take my cased opening frame and I might simply bias the installation so that it's not centered on the cased opening frame. I might, if this wall is basically, if this wall is so small that it's basically the thickness of a door, or thereabouts, whatever it would end up being, 2.5 inches maybe. Or if you took that hinge and simply took my cased opening frame and moved it out so that my vertical axis of pivoting was out far enough to allow that leaf to come out and around, I would say that you would be in really good shape. Okay? You would just have to locate that to handle it. My concern is what the door is doing in 180 degree. What are you doing with it fully open? Are you just going to hook it there and leave it held open so that it's retained against the wall to keep it out of the way temporarily? The concern would be how much spring tension you have to set on the hinge to get it to work correctly in its intended use and come back to 0. And will the spring tolerate taking that door and moving it another 90 degree based on the tension required when the hinge is closed so that it doesn't damage the spring permanently. So physically the hinge will handle it. In terms of its geometry, I'm concerned about the spring. If it's a very light door and you don't have any need to set a tremendous amount of spring tension, I think you'd be okay. If you overdid the quantity of hinges on the project, meaning let's say that the door required 3 hinges, maybe the weight of the door required only 2. Put 3, put 2 at the top and 1 at the bottom. That will help the hinges share the load of how much tension is set so that you might be able to reduce each hinge by 1 step of tension on the tension collar here, okay, to get it to work, or maybe put 4 hinges on there. So it's an unknown. You'd have to test it. Physically, it'll work. I'm concerned about over tweaking the amount of tension set on the spring when you take that door and go 90 degrees past where it's intended. I would love to hear back from you how it turned out, how it worked. I'd be quite fascinated to hear your results. Thank you very much. My name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply.